We'll call the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Victorville in the City Council sitting as the Library Board of Trustees, Southern California Logistics Rail Authority, Southern California Logistics Airport Authority, Victorville Redevelopment Agency, and the Victorville Water District. To order. First item is public comment. Anyone wishing to address the council in their public comment? Seeing none, we'll now go into our closed session and briefed by Mr. Warnowski, our city attorney.
Yes, Mayor Cabrialis, we have numerous closed session items on the agenda. I'm trying to outdo the beautiful, serene music this evening. The first item is item 2A, which is anticipated litigation. 2A pertains to the dispute we have with General Electric. We previously entered into a contract with General Electric. We are, at least in their minds, potentially in breach of that, so I need to get direction from you with respect to that litigation. The second item, item 2B, is also anticipated litigation. This pertains to a contract we have with Inland Energy. We have a contract services contract with them, and at the present time there's a dispute as to whether they are entitled to payment for services previously rendered. In all likelihood, if we do not get this resolved, it would be a breach of that contract and could certainly lead to litigation. Item 2C, we do not need any longer. We can pull that item from the agenda. In addition to item 2D, which can also be pulled. We have two existing pieces of litigation under item 3. The items are City of Victorville versus Luzerminda Engel, case number CIVVS 804127. The other piece of litigation is CMB Export LLC et al. Versus City of Victorville, case number CIVVS 901467. We also then have item 4 on the agenda, which is real property negotiations. The real property is identified on the agenda along with the negotiating parties and the negotiator. We need to seek direction on that. And then lastly, there is an addendum to the closed session item, and that is the possibility of initiation of litigation pursuant to subdivision C, section 54955.69, and at this point I'm recommending that we do not disclose the potential parties that may adversely affect our ability to proceed at this point. To the extent there's any reportable action, we will come out and report that action.
Meeting of the City Council of the City of Victorville, and the City Council sitting as the Library Board of Trustees, Southern California Logistics Rail Authority, Southern California Logistics Airport Authority, Victorville Redevelopment Agency, and the Victorville Water District. We had a closed session. We have our attorney who will brief us on that.
Thank you, Mayor Cabrialis. We do actually have a reportable action. It is with respect to agenda item 3A on the closed session agenda. That is the litigation between the City of Victorville and the Engels, case number 804127. With respect to that, the council, by unanimous vote, has agreed to pay the litigation costs associated with the law firm of Kevin H. Brogan, representing Aim High and Desert Wind, in the total amount of $27,120, and that should conclude that piece of litigation. With respect to the other items, there is no reportable action.
Thank you. We'll begin with our invocation. That'll be by Reverend Dr. Larry Spielman from the Trinity Lutheran Church in Victorville. That'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by our Victorville Police Chief, Cliff Reynolds.
It's my honor to be able to provide the invocation again. It is my custom, and I'm sincere about this. I very much would like to thank all of the public servants that are found in this room. The work that you do on behalf of the citizens of the city and community is commendable and is, in my opinion, a very holy thing. Almighty God, We call you by different names. We know you in different ways. Some would even deny your existence. Nevertheless, it seems right and fitting to ask that your hand would be upon these people who seek to serve this community with its best interest in mind, that you would give them the wisdom, the guidance, and the insight that they need so that they can make right and righteous decisions on behalf of the community. May you bless them and keep them. Amen. Thank you again.
Of the United States of America. Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chief, would you like to introduce the new sergeant?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. I'd like to introduce a new field sergeant coming to the Victorville Police Department. His name is John Billings. He's a veteran with the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department. He's been with us many years, has a lot of experience in investigations, homicide, patrol, the jail, those types of things. And John will be a welcome addition to our force. He'll be a field supervisor out there. And to the community members here tonight as well, feel free to come up and shake John's hand, and you'll be one of the folks that he's dealing with on a regular level. So thank you very much.
Welcome. Thank you. Welcome. We have a presentation from the High Desert Youth Football Club, Victorville Cowboys football team, Lourdes Castaneda. Here. Okay, then we don't. We'll go into the regular meeting, and the first thing we have is public comment. Anyone wishing to address the city council, this is the public comment section, and please come to the podium on any item not covered in the regular agendas, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Anyone wishing to address the city council? Hearing none, we'll go into our regular meeting. First, we have the Library Board of Trustees. The agenda. We have a consent calendar.
For approval?
Second.
Councilman Caldwell, may I get a vote from you on this?
The next two agendas are the Southern California Logistics Rail Authority and also the Southern California Logistics Airport Authority. And Councilman Caldwell is the chair for those authorities. He'll do the agenda for those.
Thank you, Mayor Cabrialis. As to the Rail Authority, the only item we have is item 3, which is the consent calendar. Motion would be in order.
Move. Second.
As to the Airport Authority agenda, item 3, consent calendar. Motion would be in order.
For approval?
Second.
Item 4 is a request to approve the Second Amendment and restated professional services agreement by and between the Southern California Logistics Airport Authority and Aircraft Marketing, Inc.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. May we vote? That concludes the Airport Authority agenda. Mayor Cabrialis.
Okay. Next, we have the RDA, or Victorville Redevelopment Agency. We don't have any revisions. We do have a consent calendar.
Move for approval?
Second.
Item number 4 is the request to award a contract to KNC Construction, Inc. of Hesperia, to rehab some property at 14389 Hunt Ridge Drive. Total amount is $39,100.
I'll move approval.
Do you have Rudy and I switched on your screen when it comes up? You know, when we're clicking each other's vote, we're agreeing on everything, but
As long as we agree, it's
Yeah.
going to be okay.
but your records will show somebody seconding somebody.
If there's a difference on the audio from the voting panel, we go by what the audio is in the
Okay,
official.
well, we are
votes,
switched
so.
right now. Every vote is that way.
Next is our Water District agenda. Item number 3, we do have a public hearing. And public hearing is, I'll open up the public hearing on item 3. It's called to hear arguments for or against introduction of ordinance number BWD 003. I will now open up the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak for or against item 3, please come to the podium. Anyone wishing to speak on item 3, for or against, please come to the podium. Hearing none, I will close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor, in regard to this item here, you have a proposed ordinance on I have 2 changes on page 3. These are technical changes. Do not change this. It refers to the definition of administrator. CEO, city managers are always the administrator, and this is the director of the water district. We will change that so that it will match. Also on page 7, it states that under section 5.1, under administrator, which will also be changed, except as otherwise provided, the director of water district shall administer, implement, and enforce the provisions of this ordinance. That's in conflict with 2.04.080, adopted by the city council, which states in part, it shall be the duty of the city manager to enforce all ordinances of the city. And so that will be changed to be the city manager or his designee.
Thank you. Will you please read the ordinance and will incorporate the changes as recommended by the city manager?
An ordinance of the Board of Directors of the Victorville Water District repealing ordinance number VWD 002 and replacing it with this ordinance number VWD 003, fixing rates, rules, and regulations for recycled water service within the district's jurisdiction.
I'll move waive further reading. I'll move introduction with the corrections enumerated by the city manager.
Item number 4 is the consent calendar.
For approval?
Second.
Item number 5, request to approve an addendum to the mitigated negative declaration for the SCLA Central Wastewater Treatment Facility.
Move approval. Second.
Next, we have the city council agenda. We did have that request for a presentation from the High Desert Youth Football Club. Lourdes Castaneda, is she here? Okay. Do we have any revisions?
Yes, we do, Mayor Caraballo. On item number 7, there is a revised version of the purchase and sale agreement and escrow instructions with the city and the San Bernardino County Flood Control District. And item number 12 is the request is from the city manager to continue the VVWRA, JPA, and related items on that item for 30 days.
Thank you. First item is item number 3, is a public hearing. I'll open up the public hearing on item number 3. This is a public hearing called to hear arguments for or against introduction of ordinance number 2259. Anyone wishing to speak for or against item 3, please come to the podium. Anyone wishing to speak for or against item number 3? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing on item number 3. Will you please read the ordinance?
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Victorville approving amendment DEV 10-00002, various amendments of the Victorville Municipal Code to Title 18 zoning, City of Victorville.
Move waive further reading and introduction.
Item number 4 is another public hearing. This public hearing is, I will call the public hearing to order. Public hearing is called to hear arguments for or against the adoption of resolution number 10-024 and the introduction of ordinance number 2258 pertaining to the California Public Employees Retirement System. We'll open up the public hearing. Anyone wishes to speak on item number 4? For or against item number 4? Please come to the podium. Anyone wishing to speak for or against item 4, please come to the podium. Hearing none, I will close the public hearing. I need a motion for the resolution and an introduction of the ordinance, but I need the ordinance read first.
An ordinance of the City of Victorville authorizing an amendment to the contract between the City Council of the City of Victorville and the Board of Administration of the California Public Employees Retirement System.
Waive further reading, introduction of ordinance 2258 and approval of resolution 10-024. And waive further reading, definitely that.
Second.
Item number 5 is the consent calendar.
Move for approval.
Second.
Item number 6, request to adopt resolution number 10-028. This is the resolution of the City Council of the City of Victorville, California, ordering the vacation or abandonment of a portion of the Encolado Road and Camellia Road, offers the dedication of easements for highway and road purposes.
Move for approval.
Item number 7, and we do have a revised agreement. It's a request to approve the purchase and sale agreement and escrow instructions by and between the City of Victorville and San Bernardino County Flood Control District in the amount of $288,000.
Move for approval.
Item number 8 is a request to approve an additional appropriation in the amount of $1,362,928 in order to align the budget with year-end budget projections. Have a question?
Yes, I do. My concern is, where are we going to be getting this money from?
Councilwoman Almond, this is a follow-up to the mid-year budget review from February 10th, I believe it was. We're currently projecting approximately $6.6 million in reserves in the general fund at the end of June 30th. So this would come out of there. That 6.6 includes an assumption that this would be approved during the year. The actual amount as of June 30th, 2009 was about $10.9 million in reserves still. So it comes out of the unallocated, unappropriated fund balance that is available in the general fund.
And you're saying that it'll be there by June?
It was there June 30th, 2009, and there will still be at least $6.6 million even after this appropriation, June 30th, 2010.
Okay, thank you.
June 10th, you still have $6 million, even taking out the $1.3 million that you're requesting?
That is correct, yes.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second? Item number, excuse me, item number 9 is a request to approve payment to Duke's Root Control, Inc. for the application of root treatment services in the amount of $40,185.
Move for approval.
Second.
Item number 10 is a request to adopt resolution number 10-030, and this is by Councilman McEachran. You want to speak on that?
Just briefly, the California League of Cities is asking the cities throughout the state to formally support this act. Obviously, the state's probably looking to take more money from the city once again, and it's unfortunate that we have to take initiatives like this to the voters because our state legislature doesn't seem to be able to get anything done or keep their own financial house in order. So this is to protect local citizens, our public safety, our transportation funds, and so I'm asking that the council support that.
I'll move approval of proposed resolution number 10-030.
Second.
Item 11 is a request to award a contract to Pacific Hydrotech Corporation for the balsam filter vessel number 1, repairing the amount of $92,196.
For approval.
Second.
Item number 12, there's a request from our city manager to continue this for 30 days.
I got a bit of a discussion, before you do that. I mean, that may or may not be okay, but as I understand this, basically, there's an agreement here from the VVWR that's, the numbers aren't precise, but just for the sake of a discussion for the moment, if we did the sludge on our own, it would cost us about $2 million for the setup, and let's say $100,000 cost on the O&M for the sludge operations. The VVWRA has a proposal. We pay them $500,000, and the O&M is about $188,000, just under $200,000. Is that basically what's before us to consider?
Sean, that's correct. I'd like Sean to be available. He's been working on this for months and months. So he's
A couple of years.
Years.
It's over a year, but I don't know that we can say years yet. But that's in a nutshell the choices that we have. The sludge agreement would allow us to discharge sludge into the VVWRA plant. There would be a $550,000 connection fee that we would pay them. There would also be a cost of about $300,000 to run the sludge line down there and some pumps to pump the sludge.
300,000 addition onto that too.
That's right. Then the full operation of the plant, we project that the amount of sludge would cost to treat through VVWRA about $188,000. Our alternative plan would be for us to build our own sludge ponds. They're in excess of $2 million. So if you just compare the capital of both, the construction of the sludge ponds would be greater, but the actual cost of O&M of the sludge ponds would be much, much less. So there would be a capital recovery period somewhere between 7 and 10 years. We haven't refined the numbers quite yet.
And there is a marketplace for the sludge, actually, isn't there?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
But once it has been dried in the ponds, it's sterilized, and it may be placed into land applications.
You know, for the sake of maybe about 10 years, I don't know, give or take a little bit there, we would have our own process up and operating and break-even point, it seems to me. This would be a nice moment to get out from under that aspect of the JPA and continue operating on our own. I don't know if there's something better, but about the only way I'm prepared to vote no on the agreement and have us continue with our own Plan B, which is to do it ourselves. But if BBWA or something wants to say, hey, you're the 70% of the contributing revenue source here, why don't you contribute the connection fee, $500,000 or whatever, something like that. I might be inclined to change my mind, but at the moment, to me, it seems for the sake of about a 10-year window there, we ought to have an opportunity to totally disconnect this process from BBWRA. And sorry, but for myself personally, I don't trust that board to look in our best interest. We're the major stockholders, and we keep battling an uphill battle with them on every issue that comes down the line. And here's the sludge issue, which should be a no-brainer, and here we are having to deal with it on our own. So I don't know what a month is going to buy us. That's, I guess, my question. Then kicks it over to Jim as to what are we doing for that month that would be any different. I'm prepared to vote tonight, but.
We have the staff has negotiated over the past 14 months for the JPA agreement and a lot of issues. It's been very, very frustrating, and I suppose frustrating for everyone involved in the agreement. But as far as I know, we had arrived at a sludge agreement that was acceptable to the administrative committee, and a JPA that met all the requirements of the administrative committee, and I thought was going to be voted on by all the entities, but mysteriously there's not mysteriously, but there's a draft report that's gone to the VVWRA board members indicating that Victorville's diversion will cost the other member entities money, and of course I guess they've raised the question, well, if it's going to cost them money, how do they tell their individuals that we're building our own plant and it's going to cost Apple Valley, Hesperia, the county more money? We have kind of disputed that and have tried to point out the best as we could that joint powers authorities are difficult because it's seldom that all member entities that are signatories to that agreement have equal shares. The flows that go into the plant, I think about 68% is a Victorville flow, which means we pay 68% of the operations. And there's some items that we just cannot get over, and our staff has met and played devil's advocate with each other on the issues. If an entity takes the position, and I've voiced this before, not as a threat, but a statement of fact, if an entity takes the position that, well, if it's going to cost our users more money, and it's not to the direct benefit of our users, we can't vote for it, that statement has been made, I think, by all the other member entities at this point. And I keep pointing out, if Victorville took that position, you would never sell bonds or build any other plants. It's ridiculous, because the minute that you build a plant in another jurisdiction, and you pay for that based upon flow, irrespective of whether it's a bargain or not, then the fees in Victorville will go up to pay for that plant. And of course, there's an argument that if it benefits one, it benefits all. But if you have a member entity take the position, well, Victorville, if you divert, it's costing more, we can't vote for it. A rational person would say, in that case, if you're going to build a plant and it doesn't directly benefit us, we can't vote for that either. We're trying to overcome that and point out that we are in this together and everyone benefits. And if we are of the opinion that we're not in it together, and that somebody's benefiting at the cost of somebody else, the only solution is to disband it or withdraw. I'm not sure what the solution is. So we actually have brought that item back to the City Council. The City Council back in October adopted a resolution saying we will support financing of the Apple Valley Hesperia plant. And of course, it's not based upon you have sell as much as you want to and build what you want to. It's got to be based upon a reasonable plan. It's got to be based upon a savings. It's got to be based upon a comparison with expanding the plant. And it's almost embarrassing, because I asked Sean to obtain the cost figures and the information, and we were turned down and told to make a public records request. And we made the public records request, and the attorney said, we're not entitled to the information. I've never heard of such a thing in my life. I've never heard of that kind of a ruling. But we bit our tongue and said, no, it's in the best interest that we're all in this together and that we continue to work. And we keep working through the process. We have a document that we thought could be approved. And one of the managers came to me and said, could you please put it off, because our council now is concerned that since this latest draft report from some consultant for VVWRA indicates that by Victorville diverting it costs more money. And we've disputed it. We thought it was all over, but it doesn't make any difference what Victorville does right now. Somebody's going to throw the roadblock up. And we're doing our best to bite our tongue and say we're in this together. What affects one affects us all. Sometimes there will not be equity, but we have to recognize that if it's the greater good for the greater number, we have to accept that, and we will stay with that and keep going. Somehow, some way, it's been viewed that it's a bad thing if Victorville builds its own plant and pays for it. And I will tell you that if Hesperia Apple Valley or someone wanted to build their own plant and pay for it, we'd be jumping up and down and giving a resolution of appreciation, because that means we didn't have to pay for it. And I don't know how we see this so differently. And we've gone through it and purposely tried to do fiscal analysis and risk analysis to determine where this comes from, and we still don't understand it. And we're going to keep moving ahead, but we're building our plant. We will build our own sludge basins. We will operate the plant and continue going. I am absolutely, totally convinced that what the City Council did was appropriate. It's right. By taking we created jobs at the base. It made it possible for the Dr. Pepper Snapple plant to come in, because they had said with the connection fees that they would have to pay, they would not have located here. If they had not located here, neither would the Westpac. according to their numbers, not ours. That's about 400 jobs. Redevelopment agency is to create jobs, and we're doing everything that we need to do, and I believe that the whole valley is a beneficiary of that. I really do believe that, and I think the numbers back that up. So if it takes another month or another 2 weeks of continued negotiations to bring this about, we think it's worth the delay. And if we reach an impasse, we reach an impasse. That still doesn't stop Victorville from building the plant and operating it and taking care of our commitments, and we will do so.
Any other questions?
Yes. I don't fault you for the continued effort to work cooperatively with the other members of the JPA, but something you said causes me some heartburn. I would ask that either you or Mr. D. Bortonowski contact DVWRA. I'd like to know the legal basis upon which they rely for refusing a public records request from one of its own member agencies. And I'd like the answer by the next council meeting.
Well, I think it should be a legal question because staff can't figure out whether that right would exist.
I had to get you that legal opinion.
Bet you would.
Okay, the item is continued for 30 days. Item 13, discussion and possible action regarding the use of city parks for American Little League Baseball. And, Mr. Caldwell, you had this on the agenda?
Yes, I did ask the city clerk to agendize this. I have been the recipient of some inquiries and requests concerning access to some of our facilities for American Little League baseball games, and the requests are from multiple sources. And I indicated that if there was that number of people involved, that perhaps we should have some kind of a presentation from these folks, and that's why I asked it to be on the agenda. And I think there's some people here representing those kids. Want to, I think, just share some suggestions with the council. I know that there's been dialogue with Mr. Gargan in Park and Rec. View of the city's tough financial situation, and I've made it very clear that the city doesn't have any real discretionary money right now, but still it's a public policy issue, and so that's the reason I asked it to be on the agenda.
Action or just?
Well, I'm requesting that we hear from the
okay.
folks that are here to address the council.
Thank you, Mr. Caldwell. My name is Heather Garcia, and I'm an elementary school teacher and proud board member of Victorville American Little League. We have grown our league by over 50% in just 2 years. We have about 760 players that range from 4 years to 16 years. Our boundaries are on the west side of the 15 freeway, west side of 395, south of Palmdale, and north of Main Street. All of our divisions have anywhere from 8 to 14 teams, each with the exception of our junior division. We are proud to play and represent Victorville. We would first like to thank you for your contribution and time and energy into the beautiful new park, Sunset Ridge. We are enduring our very first season of play at this park and held our opening day ceremonies there with over 2,000 people in attendance. There were nothing but compliments and amazement at this beautiful park. In fact, many people were not even aware that this park was built. Before the building of this park, we have had to travel to Mojave Vista Park. While this park was being built, we were always told that there would be a junior field as well as regular-sized baseball fields. Upon completion of the park was when we realized there was no junior field. Junior fields range from ages 13 to 14-year-old boys. Parks are assigned to different leagues throughout the season, and Mojave has never been our home park, so we are given certain days and times by the home league. Last season, there were times that our players were not taken care of because the other leagues were a priority. This in turn resulted in fewer kids registering in our junior division because when parents found out that the new park on our side and boundaries did not have a junior field, they decided not to play because of the problems and issues that junior division has had in the past and because of transportation issues some parents had as well. The city and Park and Rec have always been helpful and tried to help us the best they could. When we asked to have restroom doors installed in Mojave Vista years ago, they were put in. When we recently have asked to have dugout covers installed for the safety of the kids, they got underway and organized, and we have helped to send volunteers from our league to also help in any way possible. We would like to bring it to your attention what is happening in the community and our concerns and problems that we are experiencing regarding our players and the safety in the junior division. Our junior division consists of 13 and 14-year-old boys. Like I stated, this is our smallest division with only 4 teams. Before the season starts, our district administrator appoints leagues that have to interleague with each other if there are not enough teams in the league. We currently have 4 teams that also play on our fields. We currently have no junior fields in our boundaries, so we must travel outside our boundaries to Mojave Vista and Center Street. Junior fields have different regulation and sizes than a standard Little League field. That is what makes them unique. There are only 2 junior fields in the entire city of Victorville that requires 3 different leagues, Victorville Ribbon, Spring Valley Lake, and ourselves to share, along with the cities they interleague with. This means days and times are very scarce. We are only given 2 days during the week at Mojave Vista. We use 1 day at Mojave and 1 day at Center Street, and then we use both Center Street and Mojave on Saturday mornings. While we have been playing and practicing for the past month, we have had parents witness drug activity and their children's safety at Center Street. Kids can't be sent into the restroom because that is where many of the drug deals occur. We have also had parents witness the use of narcotics from the restroom. One of our board members is on the Park and Rec Advisory Committee and has witnessed firsthand some of these situations. Just last week, there was a shooting at the park. While the safety of the kids were taken into consideration by evacuating the field immediately, I would hate for something to happen before police could be there to respond. We have been promised by Captain Reynolds extra patrolling on our game days, which we are very grateful for. But we would like to see if there's any other options that we could look for at the remainder of the season or any long-term projects that we can get a timeline for to help us gain a junior field in our boundaries on the west side of the freeway. This is a critical and crucial age for players in this age group, trying to keep these kids off the street and keeping them productive citizens in our society and allowing them the opportunity to play baseball. There are many soccer fields and football fields in our area that helps the youth in our area, but there are no baseball fields to accommodate our 13 and 14-year-old baseball players. Again, the criminal activities that are witnessed at Center Street is not helpful for these children to witness when they're at the park. When other cities have parents that have to drive into Victorville to interleague and they witness these criminal activities going on, it's disappointing and disheartening to hear their comments and their now negative stigma that they have about our city. And they think that all the Victorville parks must be the same way. In the next 2 to 3 years, we will need to accommodate up to 250 players in this division with all the kids moving up. We have tried to brainstorm some suggestions and would love to share a few ideas with you. One would be to convert Eagle Ranch into a junior field. However, this would only help with Saturday games because during the week, lights are needed to play our games. We have also thought about converting Field 1 at Liberty into a junior field. We currently have softball there, but if we add dimensions to make a junior field or let it remain a regular field, we have considered as a league to buy a portable mound which estimates $3,000 to $4,000 to wheel out when needed for junior games and away when we need it for softball. This would help the ground crews from having to put a mound on and off throughout the week, and lights already exist at this park, so that would seem the easiest, most economical choice. We would like for some resolution immediately and would be willing to help in any way we can. Our goal will be to see a junior field in our boundaries and on this side of the freeway in the near future. Thank you for listening and allowing us to speak and to be heard and inform you on some issues that are going on in our community. And we'd also like to thank you in advance for putting forth the kids' best interest in mind. And remember that our Victorville American Little League motto says it's for the kids.
Any questions? Thank you. I have a question for John. Is there a way to maybe accommodate the request? I know we've had, I know with the experience with soccer is that we have more teams than we can support with our field, so you kind of have to share with everyone else. Right?
Yeah, Mayor and Council, this is a situation that's been here with the city long before I even came on board and long before I even became a director. This is what my staff has to work with every year with every sports agency that we deal with. There is a shortage of fields. That was stated in the last DIF meetings that we had. We were over 100 acres short of developed parks in this city. I don't know what resolution. They're not alone, and I understand, their needs, but there is a baseball field on that side of the freeway. It's a ways away, but it's at SCLA. That field has over 300-foot foul lines, and it was set up for senior/junior baseball to be used out there. Also, I know when I grew up, those types of Pony Leagues, Babe Ruth Leagues, they all used the high schools. Why isn't the community putting the high school district to, tasking them to open those fields up for use by these other leagues? The taxpayers pay for that. Why should they sit there and only be used for their, for their use there? Yes, Liberty could be, one field could be converted over. It's still not going to be to the standards that Little League has at 300 foot down the left field and right field lines. We've done a preliminary cost of the conversion for us, which would have to eliminate, take out some turf and add clay and add new pegs, for the bases there, as well as keep the old ones there in case they do want to use it for the smaller kids. And we're probably looking at a cost of a little over $5,000 in order to get that accomplished. That would be something that would be in their direct area. I do want to respond to one of the what she stated in regards that they were told that there was going to be a junior field at Sunset Ridge Park. I will emphatically state that that was never, ever planned there because of the measurements on the property that we had there would not allow it in order to have the number of fields that we had there. At no time was there ever a junior field drawn in on that park site. It was always set up for 3 200-foot fields, permanently fenced. So
Uses those fields now.
they do at SCLA. I mean at Sunset Ridge. They do. So that's what she said. They have their opening there, and they enjoy those 3 fields. And I appreciate all the efforts that they've had and working with helping out with the dugouts. They've been great in doing that, as well as helping out at Mojave Vista Park as well. So their volunteers have been wonderful in regards to helping us get that done. But yeah, Eagle Ranch would be more of a project because there are no lights and no permanent restrooms there at that time. It's something that is on the master plan to try to get finished, since the developer, when they put that park in, never did finish it. And so we've been behind the 8 ball from the very beginning on trying to bring that up to standards. But either there you're talking, $200,000 to $300,000 to get a permanent restroom and lights and all the electrical that needs to run there. And so the easiest thing would be for Liberty, but still, we're probably looking in excess of a little over $5,000 to get that converted for them. But as I said, SCLA is wide open. Hardly any use out there, and that field it was set up to have 90-foot base pass and over 300-foot to the fence.
The baseball fields you're referring to through the school district, are they just high school, junior high, or is it elementary?
It's high school. The high school fields. Yeah, the junior high schools don't have baseball.
I mean, I would support us authorizing you to send a letter to that. Send it back. Hey,
I will say, staff from the high school district and I have talked. He grew up in an area as well as I did. The Parks and Recreation, their big events and the things that they ran were always in conjunction with the school districts. The staff feels that it would behoove them to allow us to schedule all their athletic facilities, because then when there's use there, they're not going to have all the vandalism that goes on during the times that it sits there idle. They'd rather see them used, but it's something that it's gone to their board, but there's been such a changeover in their board.
It has been requested previously.
It's been talked about between their staff and my staff, as well as Mr. Butters and I have discussed it. We're both in favor of it, but it's been trying to get it through their board and for them to vote to allow that to happen. It's just sat there. So
I'd ask our council to go ahead and authorize a letter to at least have you negotiate with them and put it on their agenda. Say, hey, here's what we'd like to see working with the group so we can accommodate a larger field and see what the response is. Maybe it's a yes.
Whether there'd be uses of tennis courts, the fields, possible swimming pool, all those entities at gymnasiums, all those were a possibility that was discussed.
Anyone else from the council?
I think I agree with Councilman Rothschild. I would hope that the council would authorize the mayor to send a specific request to the Board of Trustees pointing out the issues. I think we could probably get some. She was reading from her notes. Maybe she could share those notes so that we could extract from that and put together a letter that's both a request from the city and incorporate the requests and the comments from the parents. You know, we are always asking for parent involvement, and we are always asking for activities, wholesome activities for kids. I grew up playing Little League baseball, and clearly it is a fantastic sport, and we got a group of people that have dedicated themselves to working with the younger members to bring them up through the ranks. So I think we owe it to them to stand with them, and I think that we owe it to John and his folks to try and approach a solution that is the most cost-effective for the community. And it sounds to me like joint use would be the way to go. And all of us have acquaintances and friends on the board. So I will ask that the council authorize the mayor to send a letter, and it's going to require John to help draft it, and Ms. Garcia, if she would be willing to participate in that.
I'll be glad to do that. If there's a consensus of the council,
Yeah, the only thing I would say too is I kind of, $5,000, even in our tough economic times, does not seem like a lot to convert Liberty to be able to have that use there. So I don't know if it can be done in this fiscal year, but maybe we could program that money for the next fiscal year. Because again, if that's a possibility, that would put a field right in that area. It would be an additional to what we're trying to do with the joint use with the schools.
The only thing that I would request Little League to do would be, because center field is going to be bigger than 300 feet, your right field line is not going to be a full 300 feet, neither will left field. It'll be 285, 290. Center field will be a lot longer if you guys want to put in, you know, like I was talking, one of those construction orange temporary fences, not a permanent fence. That could be taken down after the seasons, because we use that field also for soccer. That's you know, to get the most bang for a buck, we try to have as
we
many
get the letter on
multi-purpose fields as we can.
Follow Ryan's suggestion also, and you know, there's always the ability to go out and maybe get some sponsors. We've done that in the past. $5,000, even in tough economic times, we do have people that will, for the kids, that can put up the money to help out.
Like I said, though, that there is SCLA, the ball field out there is pristine. It's a great ball field.
Well, it's a little ways out there, but
use.
it can be used. We've got soccer people going out there.
Oh, we developed
one
that.
last.
Just as a side note for the high school district, if you talk to any of your fellow members, you know, they're on the board, just to remind them that when they were building Silverado High School and they didn't have any athletic fields, they used all our facilities, and it was supposed to have been a quid pro quo. When the high school was built and the requests were made to use their facilities, we were told in no uncertain terms that we were ever going to be able to use their stuff. So the athletic director said, no way.
I think that should be in the letter. I think a reminder of the quid pro quo understanding should be in the letter.
And the basic thing is, it's public funding that builds the schools. It's for the public, and it belongs to all of us.
As a teacher in the trenches there, when that agreement was there, I remember everybody was very grateful to the city at that moment in time. Times change. I was there. I was sitting right in the meetings as a teacher.
Kindness will never go unpunished.
That's right.
Thank you, John.
Okay.
One last comment? Okay.
So during the week, our games start at 5:30, and they're at least 2 hours, and we do back-to-back. So that's always been our issue, is the high school's been very generous with us when we've done tryouts. We needed that junior field, and that would accommodate us on a Saturday. We can shift there. But during the week, it would do us no good because they don't have lights either. And with the SCLA, the lights are on wood posts, and they're kind of lower. So, and it's still out of our area. Other than that, and the other thing is, if it's only $5,000, we're glad that was projected, because we do tons of fundraising and we have plenty of volunteer and parents that if we would be able to pick up that cost, is that something that we can get done this season, like ASAP?
That'd be great. That's what it's all about. That's it. She's the spokesperson for the group. We need to-
She's
we need
excited.
to- we need to- We all get excited, but we need to finish this agenda. Thank you very much. Okay, item 14 is a request for council to authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute a mutually agreeable termination agreement for the master municipal lease and option agreement, agreement number 1722 for a net savings of $79,646.05.
I'll move.
Second.
Council reports? Caldwell?
I have no reports other than to report that we lost one of the most significant members of our community at 8:15 this morning, the passing of Bill Porter. And Bill's imprint are on so many things, several of which we talked about tonight. There wouldn't have been a wastewater treatment facility had there not been the heavy effort of Bill Porter. And I could go on and on and on, but I just, it's a significant loss to this city and to this community. That's all I have.
I went down this morning to Los Angeles. Oh, God, can't stand going down there. But I went down representing the city for Walmart. They had a press conference on some of the commitments they had made to not only the Victor Valley, but Southern California. And this is their second annual one. The most significant part of this agenda today happened to be their contribution into the tax IRS. And by the way, I think the third highest ranking IRS agent or person in the United States was there. It tells you how important it was. But gave significant amount of money to into a fund that the IRS would not be able to afford to pay into for low and moderate income people that could not fill out their tax forms. And they said in the Los Angeles area, 25% of the taxpayers in Los Angeles need help at the very rudiment level. So this contribution from Walmart was significant in the hundreds of millions of dollars. But that wasn't the reason why I'm giving the report, actually. When I went down there, I said, I better have a few bullet points as to why a guy from the high desert going down there, and I was the only politician from the high desert. But one of the reasons I wanted to be there was that there are 3 Walmarts coming. So some of the bullet points you may all be interested. One of them is what the 3 Walmarts, the super Walmarts, are being built, and they will create 1,700 jobs, additional jobs, and those will begin probably later this year. He didn't say a date, but they're talking about beginning at the end of this year, first of next year at the very latest for the first one. And there's 3 of them all anchored in the city of Victorville. Each Walmart is estimated to generate about $750,000 in sales tax. That's another one. The 1,700 jobs got my attention right away, and I went down to thank them for that one alone. They do. Last year, they gave $600,000 into our local community. Everything from the battered women's shelters to you name it across the board. Significant contribution, and they will continue with those programs as well. So when I went down there, and then one other statistic that was interesting. Even though we have an unemployment rate of about 17% in San Bernardino County. Last year alone, Walmart, through their new construction and everything, created 9,000 jobs in the San Bernardino County area alone. That was another interesting statistic. Even though everything else is going down, here's Walmart, their retail, adding jobs back into the community. So you couple something like that, our retail, those sales, and our plant out there at the airport, the Dr. Pepper and the plastic plant, 200 jobs there, good paying jobs there and everything else. We're doing our part locally here to put jobs back on the table and try to bring these statistical numbers down. So I was pleased to be down there and represent the city, and they were grateful that we were there giving them their thanks too, and the press took notes.
Thank you, Mike. Brian?
I have nothing.
I have nothing. Thank you very much. Good night. Meeting adjourned.